This remote village is called Kiriwa. It is in the western province of Papua New Guinea. This is one of the most remote places I have worked, and it took about 4 days of travel to get out here. The people that live here in this region are the Aramba tribe. They live simply. They live off the land, farming throughout the year to provide the food that they need. Their main crop are yams. These yams are stored in yam houses and eaten throughout the year. This is their main source of food. In addition to farming, they also hunt. They take these really long bows and arrows and they go hunting for cassowary, boar, wallaby. They let me try a bow and arrow, but they gave me the kiddie version. It even has a cork on the end, so I won't be hunting anything. This large flightless bird is called a cassowary. It's quite dangerous, so the men try to capture it when it's young and then raise it in captivity. Many of the guys had scars on their legs and their arms from their encounters with cassowary out in the bush. When there's a big ceremony in the village, they slaughter the cassowary and they split the meat up per family evenly. And then each family takes their meat and they roast it in these ovens they make from clay. They usually just use the ovens when they have large wild game. Otherwise, they cook everything over an open fire, like the fish that's cooking here is just roasting over the open flame. The women use different baskets depending on what they're carrying. So some baskets are used to carry yams and any farming tools, and other baskets are used to carry babies. And this is one of the babies' baskets. The children start attending school around 7 or 8 years old. The first couple years of school is in their language, in Aramba, which you can see here written down. This is what Aramba looks like. And then after that, the remaining education is taught in English. When I get to a new village, I always go and see the existing source of water. Among the Aramba tribes, they collect water at rivers and in creeks, and then when the creeks dry up, they dig these holes. They usually dig them right next to the creek, as shown here, and these are just open hand-dug wells where they gather water during the dry season. In all of my projects, I really focus on training and equipping the men so that they can continue drilling long after I'm gone. In Kiriwa, I had 33 men from the Aramba tribe. Some of these men had come from villages that were 30 miles away. They came eager to learn. They really wanted to understand how to drill wells that would last year-round for their families. They were really excited. They were quite surprised by the tools. They didn't know what to expect, and when I got off this tiny little plane with 2 little bags, they were a bit confused. But once I showed them how to do it, they really embraced the method. This was something they could really do on their own. By the second day, we had dug further with the drill than they had ever dug by hand. And we reached a lot of water. We reached water around 30 feet, and we continued drilling down to about 40 to 45 feet. This process was so exciting to them because it was something that they could do. And they felt confident and comfortable with it, knowing now that they could reach water for their families. The majority of my training is outdoors, but I do have some indoor classroom work for the guys. Here they are putting together the valves for the baler buckets. I had them take them apart, put them together multiple times so they really understood how they worked. A lot of times when I'm working with the guys, I'm giving them concepts and ideas or end results. And one of the things we did was talk about hand washing stations. And I talked about and drew on the board how we would have to make a hand washing station, but then asked them what materials they had locally available to do it. So they found bamboo that's hollow. They found a big piece of it and they cut holes in it and they built their own hand washing station. This is just a prototype, but it just shows that they're creative and excited and willing to try. Planes land infrequently in Kiriwa, so it's always a really big day when a plane comes in and all of the kids leave school and all the adults even stand out there watching. I was really excited when it came in because it was carrying the pipe that we needed to case the wells. This was just kind of a one-time deal for us. Getting the pipe by plane is not a sustainable solution. The men can actually bike across the border to Indonesia. It takes about 5 days total, but they can do that, and they'll be able to get the pipe in the future from bicycle access across the border. The Aramba villages are spaced pretty far apart. After we finished working in Kiriwa, we went on to Meru. Meru was about 5 miles away, so we'd walk 5 miles in the morning, work throughout the day, and then we'd walk 5 miles back in the evening before it got dark. After Meru, we went to Sitavi. Sitavi was 9 miles away, so when we walked there, we just stayed there overnight to work. I teach the men how to do everything manually. So to put a hole in our baler bucket, we use a hot nail. And here they are pressing a hole into the cap for the baler bucket as well. The men are preparing the casing pipe, so they're cutting slits into it for the water to go through. And they're also being really creative on how they're cleaning the inside of the pipe before we put it into the ground. Once we prepare the pipe, then we glue it and we start to drop it into the ground. This is a well in Sitavi, and so this well is about 30 feet deep. The women also helped with the well drilling project by going and collecting the small rocks that we needed for our filter pack. This was not an easy job. They had to walk to a river, collect the stones along the riverbed, and then carry them in the baskets back to where we were. The men and women have really defined roles in the Aramba tribe. Some of the more unique areas that they work are the men only fish with nets while the women only fish with fishing line. And when it comes to the home, the men are the ones that construct the floor and the women are the ones that build the roof. I'm confident that these men are going to be able to drill wells for many years to come. They embraced the technology, they worked hard. I presented challenges to them and they worked in groups to solve the problems. They really were the perfect group of students. Together, we drilled 3 wells in 3 different villages. And now as you watch this video, the men are in another village 20 miles away drilling the 4th well.